Hello students, here is Divya Singh, Assistant Professor, School of Computer Application, BBT University. So now we see the topic that is electronic payment system. Now see what is electronic payment system. That is the internet economy or the network economy as it is popularly called has been growing as at a furious pace. It is becoming imperative for organizations to prepare themselves to conduct business in this dynamic environment where traditional transactions are migrating towards the electronic transactions. The process of conducting internet commerce or e-commerce is different vastly from conducting commerce in a physical environment. In several ways, one very important issue in e-commerce is the payment for good or services bought over the internet. The electronic payment issue is providing to be the one of the biggest stumbling block in the popularization of commerce over the net. The perfect solution to question regarding security, integration, ease of use, and other issues are still not available. Many researchers have proposed electronic payment systems which address many of these issues. However, it is easy for businesses to choose the one that suit their business best from amongst the numerous optional available. This in this video, the outlines important issues related for electronic payment and offers an overview of various online payment mechanisms that have been devised. Now see what is online payment system. The various methods have been used for online payment in general. The various payment mechanisms can be broadly classified into three categories. They are cash, checks, and credit cards. Many virtual shops on the internet accepts payment through the digital cash, electronic checks, or the credit card mechanism. Digital cash is the electronic equivalent or physical cash with all the inherent properties of cash embedded in it. Digital, digital cash represent in a sequence of binary numbers an intrinsic value in the chosen currency. During transmission from the buyer to the seller, the binary numbers are susceptible to the interception by packet sniffing program and hence resultant that is fraud. Encryption offers solution to some of these problems. In order to implement versatile solutions, a payment protocols and storage mechanism for digital currency need to be implemented and followed by all the parties involved in the transaction. In case of any breach, the system should be capable of providing safeguards to prevent frauds. Security remains a paramount concern in an electronic payment. As the payment system involves direct financial transaction dealing with the movement of actual money, They become prime target for defrauders all over the world. Digital money is represented in bits and bytes. Thus, unlike minted money, it is far easier to replicate at almost zero cost, even though they can be a secure format locally. The very nature of electronic commerce requires its movement over the network. The open environment of the internet makes it susceptible to interception, duplication, and manipulations. Thus, the issue of ensuring integrity, confidentiality, and non refutability acquire an added significance. In order to become widely acceptable, the digital financial transactions need to infuse a degree of confidence in user of the system have to feel secure not only from in order to become widely acceptable, the digital financial transactions need to infuse a degree of confidence in user of the system have to feel secure not only from the traditional currency cash transaction the user pairs can mainly anonymity, the untraceability, and the anonymity implies that buyer are able to hide their identity while making certain purchase. Untraceability implies that no one can link different payment made by the single buyer. As a result, no one should be able to learn or monitor the spending pattern or sources of fraud of the particular individual. Irrespective of the type of payment mechanism adopted, digital payment mechanisms have to exhibit certain characteristics to meet the basic requirements becoming a viable alternative of traditional payment mechanism. These requirements include broad acceptability of digital currency across the commercial world, anonymity, uncertainty, reliability, scalability, convertibility, and efficiency. Now, the most important basic requirements are discussed as follows. That is acceptability, sorry, acceptability, convertibility, flexibility, reliability, efficiency, security, usability, and scalability. So now we see the first topic that is acceptability. Acceptability, the payment infrastructure should not only be robust but also available and accessible to the wide range of consumers and sellers of goods and services. The value stored in a digital cash should be honored and accepted by other hand accepted by other bank and financial institutions for recognitions. Convertibility. The electronic currency should be interoperable and exchangeable with the other form of electronic cash. Paper currency, deposit of bank accounts, bank notes, or any other financial instruments. Next, that is convertibility. The electronic currency should interoperable and exchangeable with other forms of electronic cash, that is paper currency, deposit of bank accounts, banknotes, and other financial instruments. Next is flexibility. The flexibility gives the payment system should be in the position to accept several forms of payments rather than limiting the user to the single form of currency. Now, next is reliability. The payment system should ensure and infuse confidence in the user. The user should be completely shielded from the systematic or a single point failure. Now, next is efficiency. The efficiency here refers mainly to the cost overheads involved in the operation of digital payments. The cost of payments per transaction should be ideally close to user zero. This assumes added significance in the case of micropayments that are typically in the range of fraction of a currency unit. Next is security. Digital currency should be stored in a form that is resistant to replications, double spending, and tampering. At the same time, it should offer protection from the intruders trying to tap it and put it to the unauthorized use when transmitted over the internet. Now, next is usability. The usability users in usability, the user of the payment mechanism should be able to use it as easily as real currency. This requires that the payment system should be well integrated with the existing application and processes that acquire the role of transaction parties in electronic commerce. Now, last is scalability. The payment should system should offer scalable solutions, that is, it should be able to offer the same performance and the cost per transaction overhead with the growing number of customers and transactions. Although ideally, a payment system scalability should range from micro payment to business payment. The differing nature of demands placed by these two ranges are different to reconcile in the single payment system. In the case of micropayments, it is the overhead cost per transaction that is of paramount importance, while it while in business payment it is securing that requires the highest level of efforts. Now, with the growth of the internet economy, a variety of transactions, some of extremely low value, while other of high value, need to handle need to be handled based on the size of payment. All payment transactions can be classified in the following three categories. These categories are micropayments, custom, customer payments, and business payments. Now, see, first is micro payments. These transactions usually involve ones that have very low payment value. At the times of value of transactions, maybe fraction times fraction of a currency unit. Typically, transactions that are of 5 or lesser currency unit in the case of dollar and 50 in the case of the rupees are treated as micro payments. Since the transactions are of such a low value, even a small overhead or a minimum low overhead may become be unbearable. The system of micropayments have to ensure near zero overhead in order to make them valuable. Next is consumer payments. These payments typically involve value of 5 to 500 currency unit in the case of dollar and euros, and many be 50 to 5000 units in case of rupees. These are the dominant form of payment transactions, as most of the consumers buying in a single shopping trip fall under this category. Business payment. Next is business payment. Usually transactions that are of higher amount, 500 and above in the case of dollars or 500 and above in the case of dollars and 5000 and above in the case of rupees are treated as business payments. Business payments usually have an invoice associated with them. Business to business payment transactions are in the higher range and fall in this category. Thank you for listening.